My name is Bianca Mediati, and currently I have a business called Communicate It, and we design and make cake toppers and custom signs here in Marrickville, and we have an online business. A few years ago I met Rachel because Rachel was working with one of the bakers that I supply to. And I met Rachel, we were either having a conversation and it came up about we're both designers, and we had a lot in common. It was a curious conversation about what each of us do. And I remember she was talking about she had a studio that she was working from, and I knew of her because of her chair exhibition in Milan, so I knew of her work, and I was very curious of her studio, and I asked to visit, and it was here, and I was inquisitive about a space because at the time I was working from my apartment, and we got talking, and a few months later she was moving out and another studio came up for availability here in this complex, and so I then moved in. But at the time Rachel was moving out, so we didn't actually get to work in the same studio space.
It's a shame.
But it was a great connection, and I think I was just by chance delivering one of the cake toppers or the pieces, and Rachel was there, and we got chatting. So
yeah.
Okay, so I studied industrial design at UTS straight out of high school, and I chose industrial design because I was interested in making things, so designing things that I could make, and at the time it was very solidly around product design. And so it was about objects, and I was quite curious in the way that objects had been designed in the past, and then they formulate a behaviour of how people are using them. So that was quite interesting to me, and I also thought there's many possibilities that I could be making things. And so throughout the course of the UTS subjects, I took a subject in jewellery design. There were many electives. I took a subject in graphic design, and we learned typography, and I also took subjects, many of them were inside the workshop and making things, and so there was this really nice way of sketching and illustrating, and I enjoyed that. Moving into three-dimensional programs on the computer, which was really exciting, and I really enjoyed that. And then actually physically making things as well. And at the time, this was in the early 2000s, there was no laser cutter, there was no 3D printing, so it was all either handmade or hand-sawed, or using bog or sculpting things, so it was quite a very tactile way of making objects and pieces. One of the subjects that I did was in exhibition design as well, and so that allowed me to look at an object as a space and an experience, and which I really enjoyed as well. So I have this kind of way of thinking. Design can be the experience that people go through, or use the item. So from there, should I just keep on talking about
sure, yeah.
So from there, as part of the course, they had a internship, like a 3-month internship. And so I was really interested in exhibition design, or it was like exhibition design, experience design, moving through spaces. So I put that down as my elective, and they found me an internship at an exhibition design consultancy. And in the 3 months that I was there, something that I designed by chance in the first week actually went ahead and was approved and made in their factory by the end of the 3 months, and then it went into exhibition. So for me, I was able to see the totality of the design process, all of the changes along the way, and then actually see something be in built form and get feedback from the client as well. So I really got great exposure to the way that the design process worked and the partnership with the client as well. And so from there they offered me a design position, and I took that. And so I was there for a few years, and then I decided I wanted to shuffle and have another experience in design and exhibitions. So I took another job curating exhibitions, and then I wanted to work on larger projects. So I found a job in a graphic design studio, and I took a role as a project manager, and that was really interesting because I had the wide design background where I could really understand how to brief designers and then also talk to the clients about what it is that the project can work on. So I kind of enjoyed that. While I was there, I was also working on just a side project where I was trying to design a new form of a candle, and it was just a project of mine that I wanted to work on, and I was finding a whole bunch of suppliers. In that time, a friend's birthday came up, and because I had these supplies in laser cutting and molding, I created something for my friend's birthday, and it was the cake topper, and it sat on a cake, and it was really fun, and her surprise and reaction was really nice. And so I put that first photograph on Etsy, and it started selling. So I had this kind of side business while I was working there, and in parallel with that, that was growing. So that was 7 years ago, where cake toppers were not really in Australia, so I had a lot of international clients that I was designing and making cake toppers for. And in that time, while that was starting to move and grow, I also wanted to adapt my career in design, and I was looking into how to get into experience design, but I didn't know exactly what that was. And I found service design, so then I started to look into that, and I found an internship with a service design consultancy in Sydney, and I grew all these skills around service design. That was really amazing to be working in service design. And then it got to the point where Communicator was quite busy, and so I had to make a decision of how do I spend my time during the day. So I thought I would take 6 months off and try and work on the business and see if there was something there. And then it just kept on growing and adapting, and so I've been here ever since. So what I understand as I'm designing is how will people use the product, and what is the product doing for the person. And so what I found out quickly when I made the product for my friend, that first product that I made for my friend, initiated a conversation. It was laughter. So my philosophy is design can bring a moment, a celebratory moment to someone. It can bring joy. It can facilitate the way that either people are using things for better, and I guess that's what I believe in. And so that if you look at that design philosophy of how does design make things better for people, I have adapted that throughout the business. So in terms of materials that I use, the messages that I work with, I want them to be fun, I want them to be meaningful to people. I think designing a product it needs to be meaningful for somebody to actually want to keep it or to purchase it in the first instance. The ease of understanding what the product does is also crucial to my design philosophy. So what I found out in my business is my first shop online, when I was designing a product and showing it online, I needed to show the product in situ. So it needed to be on a cake or someone cutting the cake. It needed to be surrounded by how it was used. So people quickly understood, what do you do with this thing? I do remember being at markets and exhibitions, and I would have my products on display. And it was the first way of people really understanding what the product was, because it wasn't something that people knew of. And I had some on cupcakes or cakes, and people asked that same question, do I make the cakes? So I needed to quickly make sure that people understood I'm doing this other thing and it's associated with a cake, but the cake is there so that you understand how you place it or where it belongs. So creating the world, the image of what that product is doing, and making it easy for somebody to understand and understand what they do with it, so that they can either decide if they want to purchase it or... It also comes across in other areas of the business. So we are an online store, so we package everything out and we ship things. So the design philosophy of making it better or easier for people has come through on our packaging. So we design for the customer, but I also design for the staff that are packaging the product as well. So understanding how that comes in for the usage of the product, but then the steps before that of how we are designing the product, how somebody is packaging the product, how they open it up, how they use it on the day, how they store it, and how they use it the next year over. So it's really understanding what's the best system for that product. And that's where the design philosophy comes through, of making things easy for people and better for people. I was so nervous and so unsure about what this is. I didn't want my name with it because I was scared of what will people think, and sometimes the design is not beautiful or working, and will I be judged? So I eliminated every part of the business that had my name on it, and I created the business name, so Communicate It. And when I would sign off emails or say thank you to someone, I would only initial B. So, and at the start I didn't really talk about it too much, because I was like, oh, it's only a small thing, and if it fails, then I won't be losing too much because I'm not talking about it too much. So I was very nervous, and
But you made it. You succeeded.
It's still going, and it's still evolving. So yeah, and there was a point where I thought actually I can sign my name, and I can own it, and I can either start to show my face on Instagram, and I have a sense of pride about it, and all of the things that I have grown in the midst of it.
Do you want your name on your product now or brand?
I do have my name on
Yeah.
the product, and I have my name on business cards, and and it works in both ways, that people understand that it's a person behind the brand, and it's a person that is designing it. It's not from a distribution company. It is people that are working on this business, and you're buying from a person that truly has a passion about designing and making cake toppers, and having a small business as well. It was all personally funded. So the first prototype that I made was for a friend, and I funded it. The photograph from that I then created online, and the sales that come through are then processed to actually make the orders. And most profits go back into the business to reinvest in the business. So it's self-funded business. So at the beginning, I priced it based on material cost, cutting cost, because it was all outsourced, so I could quickly understand that. And then I added on a postage cost, and I sent my first one off, I think, to the US or Poland, and I was really happy with that pricing structure. What I didn't understand is once one order is very different to an order of 5 or 10 or a bulk order. And so then I had to review my prices after that first year, because I was then understanding how much time am I putting into designing the product, going and picking up the product, finishing the product, the cost of sticky tape, and the cost of bubble wrap and boxes, and taking it to the post office, and having this understanding of these are all of the things that contribute to this one product. And it could be quite simple as I thought, but actually it's not. And there's a lot of time invested into it, and I did want to have a high quality product, and I wanted to have great customer service. So understanding the amount of time that I was willing to invest in customer service, and if the product broke as it arrived, so we use a postage system, then what does that enable as part of the costing as well? So how do I swallow that cost, and how do I understand where that cost is? So as I started to actually work in the business, I was then able to understand what was all the costs associated with it. And each time there was a change in the business, like moving into a studio, it then started to unveil many other costs. And so that was studio rent, business insurance came in, public liability came in. There were just like, for being in business, there are associated costs that I did not know being a product designer or coming from product design.